Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. For those of you watching on YouTube, today is the last day that my daily webinar would be free as the daily webinar for my group. But from next week on, I still will be doing at least a weekly update for you, and it will be broken up into three parts: Forex, cryptos, and stocks and indexes and so, right? So there'll be three different videos. Please, if there is something that you guys out there would like to see more, leave a comment on which one you would like to see more. And those who would like to see that, please comment on it, right? That yes, or click a like in it, because I would look at the ones that has more likes and I will add them to that, to the list of the ones I'm looking at. Those videos will be shorter, so it's going to be much easier for you to deal with. I think I'll try to keep them within 20 minutes. Each one, maybe the Forex one will be slightly 30 minutes or so. And you can watch whatever you like in it, right? I think the cryptos one should be popular because I'm getting a lot of reaction, personal message from people who would like to see a crypto one separate because they trade only cryptos. And we can add a few more cryptos to that one. All right, it's all based on wave analysis and how we look at the charts based strictly on wave analysis. It's not based on fundamentals. It's not based on any other method. So if you believe that it's moved by some other things besides wave analysis, you can look at this video and just compare them and see which one is, whether it's helpful to you or not. I don't know whether it's going to be, right? But most times it doesn't matter what is the fundamentals out there. It's all baked into the wave analysis, which means the totality of every single thing that can influence the chart will influence at a specific time when the patterns are there forming, right? It creates a specific pattern, right? When everybody is doing all of this, including when they're manipulating the market, and the market is manipulated 90% of the time. Sometimes it's so manipulated that you see it and you hear about it in the news. Most times it's not so manipulated, so you don't see it and you don't hear about it in the news, but it's manipulated all the time because that's part of how you make money, right? That's the whole purpose of it, right? The people are buying it so that it can go up and they can sell it. That's the whole point. And then you sell something because it's go down and you buy it back cheaper. That's all the market is about. Buying and selling. Buy cheap, sell expensive. The people who can do that correctly make money. The people who can't do that correctly lose money, right? And it's not all the time that people are losing and buying money in Forex. And commodities maybe, but I don't think so also because, if you're growing rice and you're selling it, it doesn't matter what's the price of rice. You will still sell your rice, right? Regardless of what the price at the moment. It's not like you're going to hold your rice and wait until price goes up. You will sell it. So you're not really losing if you sell your rice unless you're selling it below the cost, which is rare. People don't do that. They just stop growing rice and the price goes up. I know that. My father used to grow rice, right? He had a small rice farm. I know that for that matter of fact. So you would not grow a crop that is not going to make you money. You just stop growing it until the price goes up and then you start, growing. So basically, they don't lose because of those fluctuations. The people in the middle make money, right? Because of fluctuation. So it's a small percentage of people who would buy, and most people are consumers, right? We consume rice regardless of what the price, we will still go and buy it. So we don't lose. If your rice is a cent more expensive than it was, or 2 cents more expensive per kg than it was last week, you don't consider you lost, right? You don't go buy the rice and say, oh God, I lost 2 cents, right? You just buy it. That's about it. That's the market. So it's not always a win and loss game. If you're speculating in it, yes, that's become a win and loss game for you. But most times the bigger market is not about winning and losing. We're speculators. So we have to be careful. And if you're a speculator who's borrowing money from the bank, if you're using high leverage, then you have to be extra careful. If you're a speculator with your own money, like the big investors, the hedge funds, the banks and all of that, they don't have to be that careful like us. It's not that they don't have to, but they can hold things for a longer period of time because it's their money. They're not paying an interest on it. We can't do that. We're borrowing. For every $1,000, some of us are borrowing 200,000-300,000 from 100 and up, depends on what's your leverage. If you have 50 leverage and 50,000. So you're borrowing a lot of money that you have to pay interest on, you have to pay, spread on, and a lot of things you're paying for. You might not even see it on your broker platform. They will tell you, hey, we don't charge this. They do charge it. Otherwise, they can't survive. Unless they think you're going to lose your account, and they will give you all the chance, all of these things free, hoping that you lose your account and they make money. Right? So speculation, it's part of the game. So don't say, oh, well, cryptos are speculated. That's why it doesn't work with wave analysis. It does work with wave analysis. Everything does. Now, the other day I posted one where I said, well, I'm not clear what this pattern is. We can't recognize this pattern so clearly. And one person jumped on that and said, oh, well, yeah, because there's no pattern. I'm like, dude, we wouldn't get all the patterns correct every time. We're not superhuman beings. We're not machine. We're going to get some of the patterns wrong sometimes because we are identifying known patterns. We are making forecasts. We're trying to say what this pattern will be before it happens, not after the fact. After the fact, you're wasting your time. You can't trade after the fact. So we're saying, we think this pattern is going to happen. And if this happens, this is what we would do. Now, if that pattern doesn't form, we don't do anything. So we might miss a trade by not doing anything, but we didn't lose anything. The thing about trading is not what you miss, is how much you're going to make when you get the right ones, right? So not how much you miss. You're missing a lot out in life. We're all missing out a lot in life. We don't even know it until after the fact. You would know a lot of things you miss after the fact, and some of them are right in front of your nose that you're missing. You just don't see it. And that's okay. That's life. You're not going to get everything well in life. I missed so much opportunities in my life that I stopped counting. Too many. And opportunities that I was offered that I didn't take up. And I've made blunders in my life a lot too. I mean, quite a lot. So we all do that. That's life. Just relax. And, if you didn't get one trade, don't just go upset and get all, relax. There's a next trade coming tomorrow. Let's go. So let's start. Dollar index. Dollar index, as we said, we can't confirm the downside as yet, and we cannot confirm it. It did break out, but it didn't consolidate. So that's not a trade. We wait for this. This is still consolidation. As far as we're concerned, it's still consolidation. And there's an opportunity for a sell, but we don't have it right now. There is no sell set up. Can this go higher? Yes, they can go. The consolidation could come back all the way to the top here, right? Is it going to be an impulse to the upside? There's a very slight chance for that. We didn't break this low. So there's a slight chance for that because all patterns start with an impulse, a correction, and an impulse. Even if it's a corrective structure or it's a big impulse to come, they start like that. The nature of how they start is different. When you see this come back here, we always said that's a possibility for a flat. The depth and the internal structures says that's a flat. When you see them go like this, we know that's an impulse. So we're assuming that this would make a flat. Can we be wrong about that? Yes, because a few times you do have when the chart make a big consolidation here and then takes off. That happens a few times, and that is okay. You don't have to worry about not catching the move to the upside. It will have to change this impulse, and then we will get the move. So when this impulse proves to us that they're totally going up, that's when we will join the upside, right? We're not trying to join the upside now, because now it's dangerous to buy there. Although it looks like it's going to go a little more up, we will wait for the sell. And if it goes up, we will probably get another trade that has a perfect setup for a buy or a sell, or we will wait for this to happen. Silver, perfect sell setup. If dollar goes up, silver fall, we will sell silver because it has a sell setup, right? So if dollar index goes up and this drop, great, we will be in this trade. Is this trade the one that is going to come all the way to the bottom, although we expect it to go? I expect it to come all the way to this level. The reason we're looking for that sell, we're coming to break this low. So I'm looking for this trade. Is this the one that is going to go? I don't know. I would never know that. I don't control the outcome of things. If you didn't sell this one, there's a small one there, then you wouldn't get this trade because you don't control the outcome. You don't know when it's going to drop. You take every trade and you manage it. Some are going to be losses, most are going to be break even, and a lot of them are going to be winnings. So we will take this trade. This could still go back up here and then come down. The final word is come down. It will come down. There's a 99% chance of this thing coming down. The more it consolidates here, the higher that chance becomes. This could still be a correction. If this is a correction, they will only drop like this and they will go back up. They will drop like this and go back up. They'll drop like this and go back up. Eventually, they'll go to the top and then they'll drop. See? So because we understand how these structures work, how they develop, we don't know why they're developing so, but we understand how they develop. That is because the market is doing something specific. If the market starts to behave like this, whatever they're doing, they're buying or selling, means they're going to go up. And when we see this in the bigger structure, we know this is going to drop. It's all about what is the pattern telling you? What is the probability of that pattern behaving a specific way? So we're looking for a sell today. If it breaks out, we will not get the sell. And then we will consider whether it's starting to go back up to this stop and if we have a buy setup, but we don't have a buy setup today. So we took 1, 2, 3, 4 sells on this already. Didn't go, but you didn't lose money on them. Gold, we're in the sell. I think I told you yesterday, this is a sell setup, perfect sell setup, and our traders are in the sell. If you took it, congratulations, you're in the sell. You can put that to break even and you can't lose in it, which means you will move your stop loss from here to this level and you can't lose in that trade anymore. No matter what happens, you can't lose. If it drops, you're in the good. If it goes back up, take out your break even. You may want to keep it because it can go lower. If this is the running flat, and this is something we were telling you, if this is a running flat, then the chances are we're coming here. So you might want to just move your stop to break even and stay with the trade. Euro, can you get another trade in this? Yeah, if they consolidate. These are too small. I'll not go with those. Wait for a bigger consolidation. Let this drop, and then they'll do something like this, and then you can get another sell if they do that. See this? That's your buy. So if they do this, this would be your sell. You don't have that right now. Euro seems to be going in a sideways move here that looks like a, right now it looks like a running flat, but the possibility is it could be going down as well if you pull this across here and you go for a contracting flat. All contracting flats can become running flats. That is the fact. That's how these patterns develop. So we can't prove whether this is a contracting flat or a running flat, but guess how you can trade it? If it starts to fall after this, we will sell. We would sell this pattern. It might not go far. It might just do this and go back up, or it might keep dropping. Because we would assume that this is the top, this is the contracting flat, and this is going. We have a sell set up here. If it goes back up, it has to go above this top before we consider the buy. That would confirm the running flat. So which one it confirms today, depending on which one confirms, that is how we will take the trade. So I can't tell you buy or sell. If you want to put a buy order above the top, that's great, right? That will work if it is a. You will never be tagged if this is a contracting flat and we are going down. Can I tell you to sell this as a contracting flat? I think you may not be able to manage that trade. You have to have a specific strategy and management rules how you're going to manage that trade, because it could tag you and start to pull back. And if your stop is there, you will be stopped out. If we take this trade and our stop is there, we will close it before it hits a stop. We will close it far more earlier because of the rules we have in it and how it has to go. We don't discuss that in these webinars, but that is discussed in our trading room. By the way, in the trading room, if you want to join us, send me a message. Check in the description. My Skype is there. Skype me a message that you would like to know more about the group, and I'll tell you. Pong is going down. See, somebody said it's going to go to heaven. It's not going to heaven. And actually, if this starts to consolidate here, we will be looking for sells already. It could continue to go more down and down. The reason we were looking for this is because this deep pullback, remember I said when they make deep pullback, we assume it's going to make a flat. This has to prove it's not a flat, that was just a deep pullback for downside. This could go down. And if we get a sell set up in this today, we will definitely take it. Any sell set up on Pong, we will take. We can't prove. I'm not looking for a buy in it. We were considering if this would go up. Let's see how far it's going to go. But we are looking mostly for sells on Pong. Go back 3 weeks ago and you'll see I'm telling you the same thing. Did we buy it? Yes, we bought it a few times, but we're not looking for a long-term buy setup. All those were very short trades. Aussie, we're looking for long-term buy setups. So if Aussie breaks to the upside, we will buy today. If we get this trade going, I mean, we bought quite a lot there. None of them actually go. So you either get break even or maybe a 4 pips. I think 3 or 4 pips, 5, 6 pips loss. That's okay. That's not a trade that you're losing your account on. But if this starts to go, we will take the trade again today. Can they come down back again here and then go? It's possible. It's not that rare. We'll end up with a bigger, more complex patterns in the making, and then we will still go up. It will just be a bigger consolidation. They always, when the consolidation gets bigger, you see them break out and come right back in. So yeah, there's a chance that this could come back here and we might end up with a much more complex pattern before we go. And that's okay. If you go back and study patterns, you'll see quite a lot of time when that happened. But if it breaks out to the upside today, we will buy, which means we will try to buy Aussie every time. Same with New Zealand, right? New Zealand broke out, tagged me. I got tagged in that trade. I should have closed it here for a loss like everybody. I went to sleep and I end up taking the loss at this level, which is okay. So close that there. You should not go sleep on small trades like that. We weren't expecting it to go very far. We were just expecting it to break this top. It was a short trade we were taking in our trading room for that trade and then expect it to come back down. Well, it didn't break the top. And if it doesn't break the top, then the probability is it was still it's still in the consolidation. And this one would probably still do something like this and go right back up. So it might come a little more here, break this low. That's not a sell setup because I don't think this is going to fall. If it's going to fall, then we will probably sell the euro or the pound, not this one, right? Because this doesn't have a structure to fall right now. I think it's going to go here. We might even come to this level, go back up one more, be in this, come down, go back up, maybe come down and then go. So we could be in a longer term sideways move here. If it breaks this low here, that's the only time we'll consider it could start to go up, and then we will decide what patterns we're looking at in there. Right, there is a contracting flat in there if that happens. We're not looking for the contracting flat right now. Is it a sell setup? Well, no, not as yet. And this sell is not definitely going to go very far. This is still a big corrective structure. Swiss, this is a perfect sell setup. Is it going to go far? I don't know. I guarantee you it's likely going to break this low. It could go back up or it could drop. We're hoping that it's going to drop. If it doesn't drop, we'll manage our way out of that trade for break even or a smaller loss. But the trade should drop because we're out of the biggest structure. Every time you're out of the biggest structure like this and you're consolidating here, they do come back to retest this low. Retesting the lows are very important. Let me see if I can find one for you, and I'll show you. So when you break this structure here, when you break out of that structure and you consolidate after outside of it, you come back here. They didn't test the low, they go back up, they come back, test the low. See? And then they even go back up and break through the low. So this is over. They're not going back to the top. They're coming back to the lows. So can it come? Can this drop? I don't know, maybe drop like this, go back up, then drop, maybe go back up, then do this? Yes. And it's very likely going to do that because this is just one impulse going down. So you might get a bigger correction here. And that is why I say we will take that trade, but you have to be able to manage it. If you understand structure, you know that it might not be the move that come and break this low. But do we know it's not going to be that move? You don't know, so you take the trade and then you manage it. Because you don't know the outcome of the trade. What if this one just drops straight through the bottom? Do you know that? No. And we're not trying to forecast the outcome. We're forecasting the possibilities. And if we get a flat like that, we will sell it every time. See? It's pretty simple what you're doing. You're looking for high probabilities, and then you take it. Even if this drops a little here and come back, like it dropped like this and go back, you can get out of the trade. There's still a high possibility to get out of that trade. Yen. Yesterday, I explained the yen to you, and I can go through this in details for you again on the 1 hour. So I told you we saw this, and we bought it because the high probabilities is going to make a running flat, come back here, and then go. If it had gone far enough and then come back and go, you can keep the trade by putting a break even. Well, I had my trade. Actually, we entered here. I had my trade at break even when they made these stops, and they did come back, take me out for break even. But then I saw them doing this, so I didn't buy it back again. There was no reason to buy back. This is going to drop here, and then we would look for the buy. The buy is going to be short term because they're going to make an impulse like this, maybe a bigger impulse, maybe go higher, and then it could drop or it could continue to go back to this stop, right? So what happens with this correction in here, from this here to here, right? Once they come here and they go back up, they could even break the low and then go back up. That is a different set of information they're giving you, right? We would look for the downside. If they don't break the low and they go back, they could come all the way back to this stop. So there will be a short-term buy. If they start to go back as a correction, it will go like this. And I think it's a correction. So they will end up going like this. And then you will get the big drop here. If they stick within this range, and depends on how this piece behave, we might be going up. So it's all about how that structure is going to look. What's the internals of it? How it behave? Where is it at that moment? And then that would tell you whether we're going to get that big yen move up or we're going to retest the low again on the daily. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the daily webinar I did. The webinar that I did that is written on the daily charts, long-term forecast. Long-term forecast is this could come here, but it's going to go back. The long-term forecast is thousands of pips to the upside that you can get. If this stays within this range, we're going up. If it comes back, test the low, we're going up. That is why it's wave analysis, and we manage it on a daily basis. And we manage it every couple hours in our trading room, right? I mean, every couple hours. We have a timetable here for every hour in the trading room, and people are in the trading room every hour. But I personally go in 4 or 5 times a day, and most of my traders are there 4 or 5 times, 2 or 3 times a day. CAD, we're not selling the CAD. I told you that when this was going on. We're not keen on the selling CAD. We're keen on the buying. There was one buy opportunity that we missed. It's not a big one here, sorry. But if this consolidates here, we will buy the CAD. Even if the CAD doesn't go, even if they do this, which means they just go there and come back down. But the CAD buy we will take. The CAD sell, we're not very keen on the CAD sell. We'd rather take the Swiss sell. It's different structure. They could both go down, but structurally they're different. So I'm not going to go into more details in that. We already did that previously, right? Aussie Swiss, if you bought this, you can close the trade, and we did close the trade. If anybody buy that, you close the trade here. We'll look for another buy setup. It didn't go. It broke out, but it didn't go. So we'll have to wait and see if this is going to become a bigger correction of its own, which means they could do this and then come back here and then go. We know this is a running flat. We thought this could be enough of it to go. So we took the trade. If it doesn't go, then you get out of the trade and then you wait to see whether you get a bigger flat here and it's a buy. It is still a buy setup. It just isn't ready to go. You end up with a bigger correction. Aussie yen, if you took this, you can close it anytime for profit. Well, not profit, you probably get break even. They're making a bigger consolidation here, and then we would look for the buy. If it comes back to this low, and it can come back to that low as a possible running flat, we would buy from here. But it's coming back to make a correction to continue to go. We're not looking for a downside on this. We're just looking for either they consolidate here and go today. Either they consolidate there and go, you'll get a buy setup here, or they come back to this low and then go. We don't have a sell setup on it. There is no sell setup on that chart. There right now, there's a buy setup, not a sell. You can actually put this here for a buy setup. Can it drop? Maybe, but we don't have a sell setup, so we're not selling it. We're looking for the buy in this. Aussie CAD, if you took this, you got profit, but you might want to move your stops on it because it's going really slow. And when they start to do this, they will come back and then go. All right, so you will just get out of it. This will still go. It could just make a bigger correction after this, go a little more, make a bigger correction. You don't have to get out of the trade. Just move your stop to break even. Aussie, New Zealand still going and to continue to go. But like I said, you have to have a lot of patience. It did exactly what we thought it could do. That is make a sharp one like this. And now it's going to continue to go. You would be in days and days and days with this before you get anything, before you can even put it to break even. And it will continue to do this forever. It will keep going to the top, but it's difficult to stay with. Psychologically, it's difficult to trade because it's not moving. It looks like it's not moving, but when you come days afterwards, you see how much it moved. I told you that from this point, that it's going to do that because they've been doing that for a long while, right? That's how it's moving for a while. It probably will continue to move. Why it's moving like that? Because both Aussie and New Zealand are moving. Both of them are moving. They vary. The difference between them is so small that the difference between how this changes is so small. But they're consistently changing with Aussie going up and New Zealand going downwards. That is what is creating this, but not in one fast movement, in very slow movement. The difference between them is changing very slow, but gradually to the upside for this chart, right? Which means gradually Aussie can go up and gradually New Zealand is coming downwards, or New Zealand is just going sideways. Europang, we're looking for a sell setup once we break the stop. So yesterday I told you if you put an entry here, they might come here and then go back. Well, they didn't even go there. They just went up. We're not buying it because we're looking at this. This could come back to this level and then we'll get one more drop. It might break this low first. I believe they would break this low. They'd probably come here. break this low, and then go back up, way back to the top. It will be what we call a running flat pattern in the daily, right? So you get this one here, you get this up correction, you get this down correction, and then you get another one here, and then you drop, right? So once you get this trade, you have to be careful, because once they break the low or come very close to the low, they can go back up. I think they'll likely break the low. So there might be a sell setup here today in the short term. If it goes down for that sell, we'll consider it, and we'll try to get it at the higher point, not the breakout here, but at the higher point going down. Euro yen. So this broke out, and I told you we're not very keen in the sell and the buy on this, because once they break this top, we're anticipating that it could fall. Right, we're looking at this pattern here, and it's very slow. Come on. Not that they have to break the top, but once they break it, the chances are they're going to come back down. So it's going up very slow. You're not losing anything if you don't buy it. And it, as you can see, it didn't go anywhere. It broke out, but didn't go. They could still go up some more. I could still see this probably consolidating here, pulling back up, doing this until they break the top and then fall. Just stay out of it for now. Euro Swiss. It's not going anywhere. Stay out of it. We're looking for the sell setup on it, but you don't have anything there. If it consolidates here, then we'll get a sell setup. It needs to consolidate here. And if you get this, then we can go for this sell. That might give you a chance. It's moving really slow. Euro Oz. Same thing. This one broke out here. If you took the trade there, not under here, this is not, you have to wait for a flag. We don't sell a breakout of structure. We discussed that in the trading room yesterday, that we don't take the breakout. Some of my traders took the breakout of this one, and that would probably be a break-even trade because it didn't go anywhere, right? By rule, they have to close it here. So, sorry, that didn't go anywhere. It tagged the low and they're going back up. Great. All you're going to have now is a bigger flat pattern. Once they tag the low and they go back, what you're going to look for is a bigger corrective structure. See this one when it came back to the low and went back? This here came to the low, went back. You're looking for a bigger flat and downside. So this should probably come here and then downside. It's going to confirm the downside first. If that happens, we look for the sell. Is it a buy to the top there? Well, that might be a very short trade. And that will depend on your skill level. You could get a trade if this consolidates here. You could get a trade back to the top here. The risk to reward on it should be okay. Right, that's a short, very short trade if that happens. Euro New Zealand, we're looking for the sell. It's kind of going up here slowly. Right, it's kind of going up, but we'll wait to see if they break this. If they break that, we'll go with the sell. Right? So if you sold this here, this was a short one. See, I have this line here. If you're trying to sell this, you got out of it because this was expected that they might go back. Can they give you a top here? Can it go make a new high? It's possible, but we're still not looking at it as an up move as yet, as a big up move, because they broke this top, and we need to see when they break that. If it's a bigger correction, if this becomes a bigger correction, if they do like this and come back here, then we will consider the upside, right? If that becomes a bigger flat, then we'll consider the upside. But for now, the downside is the most likely thing. Come back, break this low, and then go. I showed you this already, that we were expecting it to go a little more down here and then, being very complex pattern. So let's wait and see. Go back here and let's wait and see what we get. We don't have any trade setups right now. EuroCAD, same thing. This didn't break out, so you didn't. I think we got tagged on this yesterday and we closed it immediately because this is not an impulse downwards. I actually got tagged accidentally because I had an entry order for this piece. I had an entry order for this piece here, not when this was happening. I didn't take it out and then tag me and we just closed the trade because it's not the trade we're looking for. It didn't go, so take that out. All you're getting is a deeper, bigger correction. Again, it's a corrective structure. It could go more. You could see this go more, probably even do a few more of this, but then it's going to come back here. So you can just let this happen and then look for the sell afterwards. The sell is going to be faster. The upside is going to be slow. Pangos, sell setup. If you're in it, take profit or move your stop because it's probably going to consolidate here and drop, or it's going to go back up. I think the consolidation and the drop is the higher probability, but it could go back up. So we'll be very careful with this piece here. If you're in a trade, you move your trade to break even or even close the trade and re-enter. Pang Yen. It broke the top, so unless we get an impulse and a correction, we're not selling as yet. But I can see them making a corrective structure here. With the possibility of this coming down here. So come back to this level, and could that be one more up after that? This is too sharp, so I don't think that's possible. There might be a short sell setup here. A very small one that you'll have to manage. Very close. You have to be able to manage this, because if I think this is a running flat, for my traders, if that's a running flat, we'll get one more here. And like we took this trade, if that doesn't go, this is the top. If that doesn't go, we'll take it out. But what if that is the one that goes now? So that's a good trade setup for a very short-term trade. You will have to be able to manage your way out of the trade if it doesn't go like we did here. We put this to break even, and we got break even in this trade. We're expecting a big move down. So every sell setup is a good one. Pound New Zealand, we're looking for a sell setup on this. I showed you this bigger pattern as well. They're just going sideways, and they're going sideways like this. So you could come back here and go back up, or you could come back there and break out. But this is a trade we're looking for today. Would it happen? I don't know. We'll wait and see if that happens. If that happens, we'll be in the trade. Pound Swiss, that's a better one than the Pound Yen, by the way. Pound Swiss might go back one more. I think there's a good chance this is going to go up one more here. Break this top, and then we'll look for downside again. It's not an impulsive move to the downside, so there's a higher probability for one upside here. Pound CAD. Hey, by the way, this could break out. If it break out, you will not be in the sell, because it's not a sell. So they can break out. They sometimes starts very slow. For us to decide that it's a sell, it has to come here, make a flag, and then we'll sell. So we don't have a sell setup on this, although it could come down. Right? By rule, remember what I told you. When do we want this to come down? It first has to break this top. Let me exaggerate that a little for you guys. Break the darn top and then fall. And that is mostly for people who are telling you tops and bottoms are not important. When it is going up like this, we said we wanted to break the top, because we realized that when they break the top, that completes the pattern. Right? We've been saying that to you guys. It's important to understand these patterns. If you know these patterns as well as I do, and this is the only thing you can hear me, well, kind of like boast, but I know how these patterns behave, because I've been studying them for years and years and years now, and I've studied them very intensely. And you could go look at all my webinars. You would know whether we're getting them correctly, right? Go break the top, and then it can be considered complete. It's not complete. It could be a contracting flat, but it's not complete. In this pattern, now that they've broken the top, it could fall. We will sell it, but not now. This could still go. This could still crawl its way up and up and up and up before you get that fall. So let's see. There is also on the monthly, there's also potential for this to totally take off on the monthly, because this is the absolute low. This is the absolute low the chart has ever been. Well, at least for a long period. For the ones I have, I don't have more, right? Absolute low for me, because I don't have more charts available. So this absolute low, we knew that we're going to go do that. That was forecast from this level, that they will come and break this low before they go back up. You know, since when I know that? Since the chart was here. At least how much years before it broke the low? Go check it. Because that's what the patterns do. If you study them enough, you will understand their behavior. You'll understand how they behave. You have a very clear view of that. So can this totally take off? Sorry, take this out. Can this totally take off? It could, because you have a new low and you have a correction. But so far, we wouldn't confirm that as long as you're in the downtrend. That would be confirmed when you break out of that structure. And when you break out of this structure, then we'll confirm it. But for now, they can come and make a new low and still go. It will still go up, but as a matter of fact, well, for now, you just trade it slowly. Take one trade at a time. That's just analysis. One trade at a time. We don't have a sell setup. Did we see this coming down yesterday? Remember I told you, I showed you this? Go back, watch yesterday webinar. I said this is going to come down and break this low. This one didn't break the low. It's going to go up, come back and break the low. We're not selling it. Come break this low, and then we will look for the buy setup. So if we get a buy setup here today, this could be a very nice trade to go break this top. See? Let's see if we get it. If they drop through that structure and make corrections, then we'd look for sell. Pancake. We're waiting for this to go break the top. It hasn't broken the top as yet, but the probability is they can go do that today. If it doesn't do that, then we're looking for contracting flat, and we can't sell contracting flats until we have confirmation for sell setups to the downside. So although this is looking like a sell right now here, I wouldn't be selling it, even if it does this, because it could do this and then do that. So we'll wait on this. We'll sell something else if we have a sell setup. We'll sell the pound yen. We'll sell the pound New Zealand. See, we'll sell this one. Can this go up? Yes, we will not buy this. This can go up here. We're not buying this. We'll buy the pound Swiss, right? It can go up there. I can see them coming back like this, but we don't have a buy setup, so we will buy the pound Swiss. Maybe we'll buy the one I just showed you, which is the one of them had a buy setup beside the pound Swiss. Pound CAD maybe, but we'll buy the pound Swiss and we will sell this. So which side is going to go more? We have a sell setup here and we have a buy setup on the pound Swiss. Let's see which one works, right? Pound Swiss is a buy setup. Pound CAD, wait. New Zealand yen. Okay, it didn't break out of the structure here. So they'll probably go back one more here. Not a big buy setup, but they will break the stop. So they'll just continue to do this, go up, do this, go up, and then come back. It will come back. This always happens. More than 97% of the time, 95, 97, you will get that. I can go back and show you thousands of them, not one, but thousands. So eventually, even if they make a new high here, if it makes a new high here, we'll look for the sell setup. So there is a small high there. They're just working their way up like this. Go back, retest that up, and then come here. So a small trade today to the upside, maybe. If you don't want to trade this, look for something else that has a better setup. I don't like the setup to go there. Risk to reward is not good. You have to put a stop here. You have to put an entry here. This is the target. Risk to reward in that trade is not good. The sell would be a better risk to reward trade. New Zealand Swiss. This was a sell. It's consolidating. You might get another sell setup here. The Swiss dollar is going to fall, so the New Zealand Swiss might give you a good trade. New Zealand CAD. It's kind of going up, but not as aggressive as we would like, so probably stay out of it. CAD yen, look for a sell. If you get a sell set up here today on the 1 hour, if you get a sell set up, this is a trade to come back to this level, and maybe to this level, and maybe breakout. I don't think we'll get the breakout, but it's possible, right? So we're in this structure going up, but they come back down. They can tend to go up, come down, go up, come down. So this is a good trade, actually. It's a very nice trade. Let's see if we have a setup that we can go with. Yeah, we can actually go with it. It's not a consolidation as yet. Just wait a little more for consolidation, then we'll take the trade. CAD Swiss. Well, if you didn't get that sell, now you have a sell set up. Be careful with this one because this could become a running flat. It's either a contracting flat or it become a running flat. What that means, it will go back here and come down. You have to keep a stop above here if you're selling. All right, if you're selling, you can sell it. You have to keep a stop above there. And remember what we told you again. Let me go back and remind you. This broke this stop, then fall. That didn't break through the structure. They go back up, break this stop, then fall. Would this go through the structure? No, they can go back up and break that up and then come. But this eventually is going to go down because the bigger structure is downside. See? Pretty simple. It can come back here. It can go back up. It can come back here. It can go back up. It can come back here. It can go back up. Eventually, it's coming here, and then it's going to go up. See that? So you can sell every time you're coming down from the top. You can sell because one of them is going to break through and come here. And that is the trade you're looking for. So you have a sell set up today. You can go for it. Pretty easy. I'm not making a trade call. I'm telling you how we look at patterns. We sold this one. Remember this one? We sold this one. That one didn't go. Well, will this go? That's a contracting flat. It's a little dangerous. So keep your stop here. Normally you'll keep your stop here, but you have to keep it here because of that, because they can go back like this and then come. Contracting flats can always become running flats. And then you have to be able to manage them correctly. Swiss yen, stay out of this. This is still going to go up. You might get one more up. They're consolidating here. Consolidates here. It might go up some more. Remember from here, you're supposed to buy it, so it could still go. US oil. Good. What I told you yesterday. Magic. This is going to come down because you have this. So this will probably come down here. And when it comes here, you can look for a buy setup. Now, you wouldn't buy it here. I'm not telling you to buy it there. It could come back and become an expanding flat. But very likely, it's a running flat pattern that we recognize. Could that change? Let's just go theoretically. Could this totally fall? Yes, maybe. But I will not sell this here because I have seen this pattern many times, and it tells me it could go back up before it comes down. So I'll be on the side of caution. That's all. You who don't know that pattern would say, oh, it's falling, let's go sell. And you'll get yourself in trouble. Because that happens many, many times. Where traders say, oh, this is falling, let's sell. And they sell right at the bottom where it turns. Well, there's a high probability. I said if you want to sell this piece, once it comes to there, close to this, you've got to get out because that possibility exists. Let's see if it's making that running flat. If it's not making that running flat, what you want it to do is you want this to break through the low and then consolidate. This would be a sell setup. Any consolidation above that is a very risky one to sell. You can sell it depending on how far you are away from this, but here it's not a sell. So we're expecting this to go back up and we can look for a buy setup in it. Same here. Same thing there, right? Natural gas came back down. I draw this for you yesterday and told you probability with them coming back down because we would look at this as a flat and you would get 1, 2, 3, and then you can go back up. Pretty easy. Let's see how far it comes before they go back up. It's likely going to go back up. I don't think it's the end of the structure. This one did not break the top. So I don't think that's the end of the structure. They might come a little more like here and then we'll look for buy setups. We'll wait for the setup to buy. Can you sell it? No, you shouldn't sell it. Because it doesn't have to go very much low before it goes back up. You should wait for the buy setup. Take this out. This has a slight buy setup. I think you will probably go up some more here. Break this top, and then we'll see how far it goes after that. How far they can go this much. Or they can just break the top and third. I think they'll go more. Same here. You've got a nice running flat. This is the one I was showing you on the US oil. And they do this, and then they go back up. So you've got a small buy setup there. Can this become more complex? Yes, but if they break out, you'll want to buy. Right? It will break out of this small one here. If you break out of this, then you can go up. So that would make sense. If they come lower, then you'll just have a much more complex pattern here before you go. That's the only difference. So if they break out, they'll come back to the top. You put it to break even. It either continues to go or it makes a much bigger complex pattern. Same here. You've got this. This one is a little different because we didn't break the low. So that is either a contracting flat or we're definitely going to make a much more complex pattern in here. I hate contracting flats. They become running flats. X, okay. Take this off. That was the sell you got out of the sell. It's going sideways and it looks like you might either consolidate here more or get a bigger up move. So this is here. Either you go up or they consolidate, they come back here, come back there, come back, be in a bigger consolidation. Just wait. You don't have anything to do there. 8200. This is a bigger consolidation so as far as we see. Looks like a bigger consolidation. Could it be the start of a down move? Not as yet. The impulse is short. And when the impulse is so short and this flat is way back at the top, chances are we're going to go up. The probability for the upside is higher. So if this could be the top. If that is a big flat for downside, then you want this to come here and make a correction like this. And now you can sell. That would confirm the downside. You see this one, it had a big flat here for downside. But you couldn't sell it here. You had to wait for this to drop, go back up, and now you can look for sell setups. Which didn't turn out well in any case. Because even if you sold here, you closed the trade when it came back. As a retail trader, that's what you would do. You take break even, right? So let's see. I think this could go up more because we have a big flat here already. So the buy setup is a better opportunity. Nifty. It didn't break out. It went up. So you probably get a flat here in Nifty. Take this off. You probably get a flat here. They might come back like this, and then it will be a buy setup. Tesla. Let's see what it's doing. And this webinar is very long. So from next week, I'll break them up, and you'll get it. Tesla looks short term like they're going to come back here. Like they're going to make a new low, so we will be in a much bigger correction here. This whole thing will be much bigger. They're not going down. It's not trending down. It's just consolidating sideways. Amazon doing the same thing, consolidating sideways. I will leave this again for next week. I'll leave this here so you will see that this is not taking off to heaven, right? And these patterns might complete themselves once this is over, right? This one is, we thought it might be over there. It might be over here. It could still go back up there and be over here. Once this B wave structure is over, you're going to get one of this down. That is this one here. You're going to get one up for this one. Right, that is this one here. And you're going to get one down for this one. That is this one here, before the pattern is completed. Now, could it be that you already have one of that? Could it be that we already have this one as a contracting flat? 1, 2, 3. That means we're completing this one. And at some point, we're going to complete this one. So if this falls beyond this low here, we will assume that that is the pattern with the contracting flat in the middle and go with this. But we will never make that forecast of a contracting flat unless it breaks the low, unless it completes the pattern, because forecasting contracting flat will get you in trouble. You can even imagine that this might be a contracting flat. You could imagine that this could be a contracting flat. So you don't forecast contracting flats. If you know patterns, you don't forecast contracting flats. You'll get yourself in trouble. You have to wait for contracting flat. That's the only pattern you can look at. You will confirm hindsight. All the other patterns, you can make forecasts on them. On the contracting flats, you will only know it hindsight. And that's the problem with that pattern. SLR, downside, more downside. It was just a consolidation. It did go up. It's a nice sell if anybody sold here. If you're trading this, I'm doing this for my traders who gave me this because they traded. So that was a nice one. So it's going to consolidate and you'll get more upside. You'll probably come back here and more upside. Reliance back to the top. So let's wait and see if it goes back to the top. This correction is just becoming bigger. I don't think it's a reversal from this point, right? I think it's a bigger correction and still downside. They did break this low, so it could be a reversal, but it's so short compared to this. So I think we'll just make a bigger correction and then drop and then go back up. Bitcoin. Okay, Bitcoin didn't go lower. They just went up. So we were in a big 1, 2, 3 and kind of a slow climb here. They'll probably come back here and then go. It could go higher if you get this pattern. Right? If this comes back here, there's a good chance for a higher upside because this might be a bigger running flat. Just let it come back a little. Can this piece go? Can this piece go up? They can do that, but then you have small impulses. You'll have a small impulse like this. If they come here and then go, you can have a bigger impulse, right? It can be an impulse like that. So if it comes back here and you get a buy opportunity here, that would be a bigger impulse. But do you want to buy this at 50,000? Ask yourself the question. I said it yesterday, I said it and I'll tell you again tomorrow, and I'll tell you the next day. If you're buying at 47,000, who is selling to you? Somebody has to sell Bitcoin to you, right? This is not a speculation, right? If you want the Bitcoin, somebody who has it has to sell it to you, right? You're not speculating on the price of Bitcoin. If I understand this clearly, to own the Bitcoin, you have to buy it. Somebody has to sell it to you. So you have to assume that the guy out there is a fool, or the person selling to you has to be a fool if you're buying it at 47,000 and you think it's going to 60,000. So he's a fool selling to you. Or I'll leave that open. He knows something you don't know. So it's your choice. I would not buy at this price. If you want to buy, like I always said, if you wanted to buy when it's at the bottom here, right? When it was here. When these patterns were breaking out. Remember, we tell you when these patterns, if you want to buy, especially long term, when these patterns were breaking out, that's your buy. You want to buy when these patterns were going up slowly. This breakout would have been your buy if you want to buy long term. Right? When you come back to the low, when this one broke out, that could have been a buy. You don't want to buy here. If you buy there, you'll get yourself in trouble. Go back and watch at my webinar at 19,000, 18, 19, 20,000. I had webinars. Go back and watch them. Hear what I was telling the people who were buying here. Once it started to do this, go back. There are webinars on YouTube there. You will watch the date and go back and find out, and you will see what I was telling people. You don't want to buy there. That's a top. You want to wait for it to pull back if you want to buy. Because if you're buying there, who is selling to you? That's the question. Who's selling to you at the top there? Who's selling to you at the top here? Wait for this to come back. If you really think Bitcoin is your future, wait for it to come back, and then you buy it. If you really, sorry, if you really think so, I have no views on that. But if you really think this is the future of the world and it's going to go to 200,000 and 1 million and 10 million, as some people are saying it's going to go to 1 million. One guy actually told me that Bitcoin will worth $1 million, and I'm like, dude, please wake up, right? This is the bubble, and you don't want to be on top of the bubble because it's going to burst. You want to catch the bubble at the bottom when it's just starting to form. You don't want to be on top when it bursts. So that's just my view. Don't take that personal. I'm not hinting at it. I'm not making any comments on whether you should buy or you shouldn't buy. I'm just telling you my personal view. And that view has nothing to do with wave analysis. Like I said, if they come here, it's a buy. Based on wave analysis, if they do that, that's a buy setup. Question is, do you want to do it? And that's where you have to make that personal decision. I will go one more XRP. I will tell you my personal view where I would buy. I'll allow this to fall. I would allow this to drop here. And if I'm interested in trying my lottery chance at making good money on cryptocurrencies, I would buy this around 10 and 17. And the reason for that is this. Remember what I said. If you want to try your luck at this, you don't want to be at the top of the bubble. You want to be at the bottom of it when the bubble is just forming, right? So if this is going to come to this level, then it's going to start to do this. And if they're going to break the top as they normally do, the top is 35. So let's assume that they will go 33 or whatever. Let's assume this is going to go back to break the top. It's going to do something like this. So if you buy at 10 and you get out at 40, just as this top is broken, you're okay. I mean, from here, you have to decide, well, if it collapses totally, I'm willing to lose that money. So for me, I would put some money on it I'm willing to lose on this. I will have a separate account for this, and I'll buy some here and put some money in and say, okay, good. If I lose it, I'll lose it. But if it goes there, it will be 40 to 1, right? So if I invest 1,000, that's 40,000. If I invest 5,000, that should give you money. If it goes, right? Because it will come back to retest the top. If it doesn't go, whatever I put in here, I have to say, okay, it's gone. I'm willing to let it go. Some people are saying it will not come back. The guys who are looking at crypto and says it will not come back. Now, there is a probability that it will not come back. I can't say that. We didn't break this low. But then if it's not going to come back, then at least this pattern, by the way we look at pattern, will have to come back to this level. Then go. So that is why we said between 17 and 10 is where you're going to make your decision. That is where we would look at the patterns on the 1 hour and decide, do we have a turning point? Once it comes to this level, we will look at it on the 1 hour and say, is it a turning point for the upside? And if it's a turning point for the upside, I can start to invest my money in buying it. It's mostly going to be an investment, which means I buy it and leave it, not trading it on the lower time frame like this. So this very much looks like it can come down. Very much looks like it can drop the break at least this low, and most likely break this low, and maybe break this low. So we're going to look for this one to break, come here, and then within this zone, you can decide if you get to buy. And if anybody's going to sell to you, well, that's the place you want to buy. So I'll leave you with that thought. If you follow me, if you put out your subscribe and you put your notification, you're going to see when it happens. Ethereum, it's going up slowly, not aggressive. I'll be careful of buys. This means it's going to turn anytime. Right now, it's more of a buy setup because they do have this kind of a flat here, and you could put this with a number of possibles here. But this is going to look short-term upside, very short-term. I don't think it's a big trade. They could still consolidate here for a while. And LTC, it's coming down like Bitcoin. Remember, I said if Bitcoin makes this drop, then it becomes a buy. They're making that drop. So there's a buy setup here. Short term, at least one impulse more up, and then we'll see what happens there, right? They will at least give one more impulse, and if we're going to get this, we will get it as a running flat later on. It will be as a running flat later on in the pattern. So I'll leave you there. Again, today's Friday. You guys have a great weekend, all of you. I would see you on Monday, maybe over the weekend. If you subscribe and you put your notification, you might get a surprise over the weekend. I'm not going to tell you what, but you might get one. I'll at least put out 1 or 2 videos. So you may want to say when it's going to be there, put the notification, put the subscription, share the videos, help somebody watch it. I'll see all of you. Take care. Have a great weekend, guys. And I'll see my traders in the trading room as soon as I close the recording. Thank you. Bye-bye.